And you know what to do by now. So settling in, letting go of everything you've been doing. Just tell yourself you'll pick it up after or tomorrow. And starting to deepen the breath. In Chinese medicine, the autumn is the time of the lungs and the breath, the regular rhythm of the breath. I just wrote about it for my newsletter. So I think everybody on here is on my newsletter list. So you'll be reading about the lungs, the lungs. So deepening the breath, if that feels available to you. If you want, you can let out a sigh. And if you're able to sink back in your chair, sink back on a couch. It really is pretty awesome when you give yourself permission to be fully supported, including your head. When you give yourself permission to allow your muscles to relax. And breathing. Noticing if you're able to allow the energy of the day to release down off of you through your feet into the earth. Or notice if there's another way your body wants to release the energy. And if you're still holding energy from other people, just ask that energy to return to them and take back any energy you may have given away to others. If you don't know what that means, just pretend. Noticing I've felt a little bit of tired since the time change and wondering about you, what you've been noticing this week. Yeah, maybe you like this time better. Maybe not. Just notice. Notice if you're able to relax even more into the chair. Release even more energy. I'm going to put my hand on my chest and my belly, as I often do, and check in with my body. I invite you also to check in with your body. Do you have any physical needs right now? Are you thirsty? Hungry? You want to lie down? And if you need to go take care of a need right now, go to the bathroom, anything, just do it. I invite you to stay in contact with your body for the class. So your body can learn to trust you even more. That the messages it gives will be received and acted upon. And maybe taking one or two more very deep breaths if that feels available to you. When you're ready, gradually opening your eyes. And taking in our group. Our group includes a lovely flower that is Emily Edwards. Beautiful. So as always, let's check in. Celebrations, difficulties, insights. Oh, it's our fifth class tonight. Only one more.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can just talk quietly, but my husband's home, but he had a relapse, so it was a very difficult week. So I'm here, but it's been rough.
I'm so glad you came.
I almost didn't, but I'm here. He's home. He's upstairs. So I'm not gonna say a lot tonight, but yeah, I'm here.
So do not want to say a lot because he's around. Because it feels to me incredibly important right now for you to work these tools, as it were.
I mean, I said things to him and whatever, but he's not working on anything, so it's just me doing it. But
That's right.
that's the hard part. So
Yeah.
here I don't know. I know it's one day at a time, so but I don't know.
So can I ask you how,
Mhm.
what feelings are you having around all of this?
Hurt, anger, disappointment. So
And Emily, are there any needs that you've identified? What needs do you have in this situation? What needs do you have sort of from Marty or just in general? Needs that are not being met.
trust. But he's been lying. I was right. Like you said, go with your gut. Like I knew it all along. I've been being lied to.
Yeah,
So that's the biggest one.
yeah. A need for trust.
Hmm.
Well, I'm with
So
you.
thanks.
And just sit with all of that. Yeah, sit with all of that.
Sorry,
Did I have,
I
oh,
wasn't say anything, but it just came out. So
This is the
I
time
have
to speak.
I have a question. Um,
when things get really bad, sometimes, well, when they get really bad, um, what I find important is the support system. Do you have a support system?
I do. I have my daughters. They're
Okay.
they don't live at home, but they're very supportive. And I have some great friends who know everything. And so they've been texting, and I've already had like three people say, like, ask me if I want to come stay with them. And yeah, so I do.
Okay.
Thank
Because
you.
I know that's important.
Thank you. Yes, I do. Thanks. Hmm. I haven't said anything. My work friends also know things, but I haven't said anything to them this time because I'm just trying to just focus on work. It's like I don't want to bring it up again. But um yeah, but I do. Thank you.
Okay.
I think it's so important to not have it be a secret. It's when things are secretive that it's worse. Oh,
Okay.
he's not alone. You're not alone. This is something that affects many, many, many people. I've lived this with my boyfriend who was an alcoholic. And so the fact that people know you're telling people and
Okay. Thanks.
said in love, sweetheart.
Thanks.
May tonight be soothing and supportive and loving.
Thank you.
Who else?
Well, on another note, I'm actually trying to remember what I wrote into the uh, responses to your question, but it had something to do with, no longer just saying it's okay. And um, when I'm feeling devalued or not being respected or whatever. And then I had this situation come up. This woman had emailed me like ages ago saying she wanted to do a New Year's Eve. Um, she leads meditations and I do astrology, and she just thought, this forecast for the year. I said, sure, I'm interested in talking about it. Didn't hear back. Sent her another email after a while. Didn't hear back. Well, today she sends me one with a date to talk. I don't even know whether I'm available, and that we're doing it for free. And I was sort of sitting there with that, feeling like that doesn't really feel that good to me, having forgotten what I wrote earlier. And then Jenny, you had like liked it or something. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to click that and go back and see what I said. And I had just said I wasn't going to say it's okay to those kind of things. So that was useful. And the other thing was understanding that every time I'm not using boundaries and saying, oh, yeah, it's fine, or acting that way, I'm actually being really dishonest.
Mm.
And so I don't want to be dishonest in my relationships, but that's what it is. So those are my insights this week. Well, kind of yesterday and today. So,
It's a bit of a harsh truth, isn't it?
mhm,
Realize that.
yeah,
It's so brave to express. I love how you said, because I'm valuing myself more.
yeah. And it just, I don't know. And she was like, oh, we can promote ourselves. And I thought, yeah, we could, or we could do that and ask for, not a lot of money. I mean, could even be a suggested donation, but I didn't want to just say, sure, I'll do that for free. It's a lot of work.
And you listen to your inner knowing.
And yeah, because I just sat with it feeling really uncomfortable and then happened to see what I wrote again. And was like, oh, you already know this.
It's such a process of retraining ourselves, isn't it? Training and
Mhm.
retraining.
Yeah.
Oh. Hi, Emily.
Oh,
There you are. Got
okay.
any celebrations, challenges, questions?
Um, I really like what you just said, Mary, about, having healthy boundaries is about being honest and how often, like, I know I've like stuffed it, being like, oh, I'm just going to be a people pleaser, say, what, actually, yeah, be a people pleaser, say what people want to hear, what makes the situation easier to handle. And I had just two little things this weekend where I went, ooh, that feels uncomfortable. But if I word it with kindness and in a very friendly way, I can communicate more clearly and have my needs met. And I was successful both times. So I kind of felt like I was like doing this when like someone who already has the ability to establish healthy boundaries, probably like, what's the big deal? You just communicated clearly. But I felt like it was a big win.
Mhm.
And how good that felt for myself. Again, not to like suppress my needs and what I was feeling. That felt like a win. Um, and also coming from a place of kindness, because I feel in my reflection so far about like not being reactive and sitting with something, um, just to even reflect and contemplate my answer. Because I like to have the answer. I like to be quick and have the solution for somebody else, but um, it actually feels better to sit with it first and say, can I get back to you on that? Or here are my initial thoughts, but let me think on it. And if I don't circle back to you, please come back to me if you still need to seek me out. And that's more my professional role. Um, and I think it's just going to be remembering and putting these things into practice because coming to class once a week, it's what we spoke about last week. It's like on the forefront. We're like thinking about it. We're doing, thinking, doing, reflecting. Um, but continuing to do these things and continuing to practice, I'm already realizing how important that's going to be for me. Not to be like, okay, what's next? What am I doing next? What self-improvement plan is happening on the horizon? Um, so those are my thoughts for right now.
Honestly, these simple tools, rest of your life. My husband, I've been using them for 25 years. They're so simple. And it's just practice and continuing to get better at them and more skillful. Love hearing that. Thank you. Sam, Susan?
I've been having a pretty good week. I articulated in my response this week about my ex and I, and sort of the big challenge is kind of not getting pulled into the the chaos of her poor boundaries and some of the kind of I've allowed sort of a bad precedent in the past, and so she kind of has expectations that are not really appropriate. And through my a lot of my my knowledge on this stuff comes from the person I'm with right now, who has kind of done all this a lot of work and sort of very much like just as kind of a sage in this area, and just loves herself and respects herself so much, and is like the queen of boundary setting, almost to sometimes to sometimes it feels like confrontation but she's like, I deserve this. She's like, or it's just like, and I think that I've also been a sort of a people pleaser in the past and wanted to kind of take the path of least resistance. So it's creating, you know, dealing, taking the road that's harder and longer is not easy, and but makes it better in the end, and uh, I'm sort of trying to come to terms with that. So,
I
um,
love what you wrote so much. I can only imagine withstanding the gale of what's thrown at you is Herculean. And the fact that you lost it once, like Mary said,
yeah, it was. Thank you.
You you did it twice.
I did
Herculean.
do
You
it
held
twice.
your boundaries twice.
Yeah, but I do feel like sort of like, I sort of almost like had expectations afterwards, like that, like, okay, I did it, and now I should see the, results. And of course, like, that's not gonna happen. So it's like, and then I sort of almost like got more upset because I was like, wait a minute,
Oh,
I thought you were gonna, I thought I'd already set these boundaries, like, so, and you're just the same as you always have been. So, but it's, it's just crazy, on a dime, like, you know, I'll just be, these insults will be hurled at me, and it's sort of like just, I just, it's hard to deal with it. I mean, it's hard to take it. It's hard to, I'm really not good at that, and obviously it's not completely her. I don't want to, it goes both ways, but there's like definitely some really severe kind of, just boundary problems that are happening, at all times. And I showed some of the stuff to my current significant other, and she's just like, this is, I felt really ashamed, because I literally like wasn't even going to tell her because I was just so sick of having her talk about this with her. And and it sort of came out, and she's like, can I see the text? And I was like, okay. And I just, it's sort of, I relived it a little bit when I did that, and she was just like, this is completely unacceptable. And she told me, she's like, what you said is just, that's not okay, because I did say some terrible things. I said some terrible things. Just, I was so angry, but I owned it, and I got through it, and I don't feel good about it, but I just need to not go there, and because we have that history of just, be basically just, want tit for tat, just kind of going at each other's throat. So it's just, but I'm glad I shared it with her. It was very embarrassing, and I felt very ashamed. But overall, my, Britt and I are doing great, and she doesn't hate me because of it. It's an ugly side of things, but anyway, I mean, I'm just sort of, you know, but it's definitely a learning, process here, and I'm excited to kind of get back to being more mature, and not kind of faltering, and because I do feel way better when I'm not going to her level. Obviously, like, a day later, I'm like, wow, I'm an adult, so
and this is sort of, we're moving into the advanced course, at least the advanced intermediate. It's like, okay, so when we do lose it, how quickly do we bounce back? And I feel like you showing that to Brit, it's like knowing that embarrassment doesn't kill us, I think is huge. I think that's huge
yeah,
for intimacy.
it was definitely like showing her some, like, the deep dark kind of side of things, and it's not okay, but she's not judgmental, and so.
I think everybody's messy inside. There's no clear, like, somebody's all good or whatever. And I think it sounds like Britt is her name, that
Yeah,
she gets that we're all kind of messy and can make those mistakes, and it doesn't mean you're a bad person.
right.
Has anybody,
You also said she's got children of her own, right?
Yeah, she does. She has two children, similar
So
age.
she probably has a lot of her own messy stuff too.
Yes, she does. Very different ex, very different dynamic with her ex. She is like, you know, on another level, with kind of her ability to kind of like be professional and be straight to the point and
Oh, but
yeah.
she's also divorced, and there,
Oh no, yeah, for sure. No, no,
that's never pretty.
she's come
Trust
a
me,
long
because
way.
I've been there.
She's come a long way. She used to react terribly, and
Right. So
you know,
she knows.
yeah.
She's been there.
But her ex never reacted back. He was just kind of like flat and a robot
Different
and just like,
situation. Yeah.
and like so, she was kind of speaking to an empty shell. Whereas I'm used to like the back and forth, and so if Britt and I get into something, instead of her yelling back or like being upset, she just kind of gets sad and kind of like, and that's even harder. It's like, oh, wait a minute, what's this dynamic? Like it's like, but yeah. So she's coming at it from a different place, like, but obviously, she has to, and so anyway, she's been a very
And
very
she's been practicing for longer than you have as well.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You call
And
it practicing.
I just
Absolutely.
was thinking about boundaries as sort of separating yourself, and that when you get hooked, it's a way of still staying engaged.
That's right.
And so you've separated yourself, but there's
Mhm.
this part of you that's still engaged with her.
Right.
And she knows what buttons to push
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
and how to get you going, and she uses that.
Mm.
Herculean.
She wants me to get to her level, and when I don't, it's makes her even more mad, and then
Mhm.
it's worse, and I have to kind of just sit through that. Or I can block her, which is what I used to do, but I'm trying not to do that anymore.
You're stronger now and you have a greater capacity to be with it, clearly. So just hang in there and keep doing it. It's like training a dog, boundaries are like training a dog or a child. For those of
Yeah,
us who have
it is
children,
very
yeah,
childlike. Yeah, it's a
Emily.
childlike thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just have a quick question. I didn't get around to responding to the prompt, but I'm not seeing if anybody else did. Do I only get to see it if I did my homework and I,
Yeah, I think that's how it works. From what
oh,
I understand. Yeah.
okay.
Um,
I was just, I was like looking.
no, I know
It'll
absolutely. I
say,
realized that too.
That's good to
it'll,
know. I didn't know that.
and also you can't respond twice, because I went to add something that I think was my aha about honesty, and I couldn't write another post.
So
So-
frustrating. So
And there
listen,
is a button though that says show all responses, but I don't know whether you have to make a post to see that button.
It kind of seems that way. I'm not seeing anything. Just the
do your
option to
homework.
respond. I didn't do my homework. I'm admitting it.
So, go to the group discussion.
Mhm.
If you're not allowed to, let's start talking in the group discussion. Okay. That's all the way at the bottom. And that's where you post stuff. Like Mary, you could have posted that, or
Yeah, I could have. I didn't think of that.
it's a great way to still just keep engaged, keep sharing. We can respond easily to each other. But that's really good for me to know. Thanks for bringing that up, Emily. Hmm. Yeah, boundaries, training. It's training other people, like you're not going to treat me this way. And just over and over and over. And it takes such patience. And, those of you who know my dog, she's not the best trained because she's my first dog. And I was like, I don't want to be mean. I'm codependent with my dog. Okay. She's a little bit trained. And so we just do our best. But seriously, Sam, Herculean, flak
Thanks.
jacket. Susan, anything you want to share?
Um, as you know, I'm not the best version of myself because I'm having major surgery on Thursday, and I'm trying to get ready for that. And I have no idea what I'm going to be like afterwards, what I'm going to be able to do or not able to do. And actually, it's, trying to work with my husband to get things in place and um, have him prepared to take over uh, the things that I do around the house, like meals and the laundry and stuff. Yeah. So, it's been hard, not been fun.
Are there any needs that you can identify that are happening right now, like around the surgery? Like, do you have a need for?
Yeah, I mean, I talked to him about like this afternoon. He says, "What do you need me to do? What can I do for you?" I said, "Please strip that bed so I can do the sheets." Stuff like that.
Mhm.
Like,
How about
help me out.
emotional needs?
I'm sorry.
How about emotional needs?
What about him?
You
I
got
just,
any?
yeah, like a lot. I just want some drugs. Okay, just give me good drugs. I mean, it's really hard. This is very hard. The other thing too is that I had a minor surgery about 20 months ago, so I know what I'm in for.
What
I
surgery is
do and
it?
I don't. I'm sorry.
What surgery are you having?
Oh, I'm having a spinal fusion.
Um,
My
Yes,
husband's had a like a cage put in his back. Yeah,
that's basically what I'm having done, rods and screws.
yeah.
And I had a minor procedure 20 months ago, which was, I have two little holes in my back, and it wasn't as involved, but there was recovery involved, and it's not easy. And then it's PT and all the fallout from anesthesia and stuff. And so I kind of know what I'm in for, but I think it's going to be a lot worse than the last time. And um, you know, um, my husband is supportive. My friends are very supportive. Um, my sister's being supportive. My children are not being supportive.
So you have a need for support that is getting met by some and not by others.
Yeah. Yep. And um, I've done a lot of over the last not well, since I was in my 20s caring for my mother and who's still alive. And I have vowed not to do that to my children because it's a huge, huge, huge burden that my mother has placed on my sister and I. And so I'm trying not to do that with my kids. And I think that part of it of not putting it on my kids is that they just kind of like, whatever. No, Joel's going to take care of it. We don't have to be involved, whatever. So they've kind of taken a full 180 from that. And some of that may be of my own doing.
Do they
What
live nearby?
I'm sorry.
Do they live nearby?
Oh, my son lives in Natick and my daughter doesn't speak to me. And I just talked to my son last week because I didn't want to tell him over the phone or a text or an email. And I saw him last week because it was my grandson's birthday. And he was kind of concerned, but he was worried about his Halloween party and coaching soccer on Saturday and his business and travel and going to Aruba with his in-laws and all of his important life things that he's doing.
are they aware of how you feel?
I believe so. And I believe they don't really care. I really do. Although it's funny because this morning, must have been dreaming or something. I woke up this morning um composing a letter in my head. Mary, when you and I talked that first session on here, you said, "Can you write your daughter a letter?" I was composing a letter to my son in my sleep,
Mhm.
thinking that I was going to send him a letter
Hmm,
and thinking, well, do I want to do it before surgery, after? So I don't know. I'm kind of mulling that over.
love that.
I don't know if
Yeah,
it'll happen
some
or not,
people,
but
some people might actually, I mean, they do actually need to be needed. And if you've been so stoic and You don't need to be taken care of emotionally, physically. Yeah. I just kind of wonder if do you really know if
I
you
don't.
said
I
the
don't
truth?
know anything. I really don't know anything. I really
Right.
don't. And in the past, when I've tried to talk to my son about stuff, he has a very flippant, cavalier attitude about stuff like whatever. Yeah, I don't care. She doesn't care. Nobody cares. And he just seems to be, and I don't even know how to describe it.
Hmm.
Whether he seriously means things or whether it's just sort of a facade to cover for things. I don't know. I mean, these are my children who I stayed home with them for almost 13 years when they were little. I spent a lot of time with them, and I have to say, at this point, I don't know them at all. Don't know them.
And that's the
No
truth.
idea who they are.
And you know what? It doesn't have to stay that way. And we can continue to talk about that possibility of having open-hearted conversations. So
Yeah.
will you let us know if you
So
find that letter? Actually, I know you may not because you're going in for surgery, but would love to
uh,
keep posted.
something I'm thinking about. You never know. I'm going to
Well,
be home
tonight's
for a long time.
That's right. Tonight's class is on finding your authentic voice. So,
Yes. And I'm going to get really tired of doing puzzles and reading and watching movies. So you never know.
your
And
relationships with your kids are going to be like perfect by the end of, the
Right.
first.
you don't know what a medically induced letter can be.
I was you'll
Don't send it.
time and you'll have lots of you'll probably get really creative.
We'll see.
Love it. Anybody else have feedback, reflections for Susan? Thursday.
Thursday. Yeah,
Well,
so I
we'll be
guess too, it's
thinking of
it's
you.
just what was that?
I'll be thinking of you Thursday.
Thank you. Thank you. It's just really hard with this thing, hanging over me. And I get all these emails from the hospital and videos to watch, and I have to wash with this and take that and do all this prep. And it's really hard to focus on anything but
Mhm.
Yeah, that sounds overwhelming. I'm glad your
it's
husband's so supportive.
what was that? Is it what did you say?
I said I'm glad your husband is so
He is. He's very supportive.
that's
Yep, he is. He's very supportive. So anyway,
We'll be with you and hope you can make it next Tuesday. I think you'll be
we'll
able
see
to.
whether or not I'm in a stupor.
That might be fun.
It could be. I've made up my mind that, I'm gonna take that oxy whether I want it or not.
My husband, it has this paradoxical effect where it keeps him awake. He can't take it.
Um,
So they give him like tramadol or something, but that kind of does too. So he ends up being off pain medication ridiculously early, just taking NSAIDs. It's it's terrible because I've had surgeries and it's like, yeah, give me the oxy. Thank you.
yeah.
You know?
Well, I had oxy last time and I mostly took it at night because
Yeah.
to be able to stop the pain to sleep.
Mhm.
And I didn't have that problem. But this is a new time, so who knows?
Oh, you probably won't. I mean, this is like a thing with him. It's always been that way. So
So anyway, I don't know. We'll see what next Tuesday brings, whether or not I can even think.
We'll see.
you'll be on the road to recovery by then.
yes.
Definitely.
I hope so. Hope so.
I mean, they get you up on your feet really quickly. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, that's one of the things they tell you. They're gonna get you up right away. You're gonna be walking. So yeah.
And we'll take you no matter what, loopy or not. Okay, so before we start talking about finding your authentic voice, I've been thinking about after the class, since next week is the last one. So I've been thinking about possibilities for support if you guys want it. And I thought that maybe like once a month, like an hour-long class once a month might be good, so we could check in and do what we're doing now and support each other and all of that. And I was thinking of another community I'm in where they have a membership model. And so I was wondering, and you don't have to answer now, but I was thinking about a $30 charge once a month. We would have a class once a month that we would be recorded. So if you couldn't make it, you could see it. Still have access to the sutra. Let's use the sutra to keep communicating and supporting ourselves. And I thought over time, if it's like a membership thing instead of just a class, that I could offer things and everybody could offer things like in the group discussion. Like I have meditations and just, all kinds of things, quotes, things that I could send out. So think about whether that might be something that you would like, because I would hate to just end. I feel like when I learn something new, I want support. Like those of you I talked to when I was taking care of my mother, I needed support when I was with her because I screamed at her one night. We slide, and it's just keeping the support, which is what our spiritual, like, I don't know if I've said this to you, but I read something that said like church, church, the function of church was to keep reminding people. I mean, there's a lot of functions of like the church, patriarchal and all that, but like spiritually to remind people, like the Jewish Sabbath, to
Mhm.
remind us we live our daily lives, but then once a week we are reminded of spirit, of boundaries, of whatever. And since so many people don't go to church, don't go to temple, don't do anything, we're sort of left without anything. So I would love to offer to you this kind of thing once a month plus the sutra. So think about it. We can talk about it next week.
New religion.
New religion, the religion of boundaries, the religion of feelings, needs, boundaries. Did people read the document on boundaries? I'm curious to know.
I did.
I
I
know.
did, I think. I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, I would just love to know what you thought. So you don't have to let me know now,
Can't
but
remember now. Well, wait a minute. I've got finding your authentic voice out,
yes,
but
that's
I'm
what we talked
not,
about tonight.
I can't sit at my desk because my back is killing me. So I'm propped with stuff. So,
Good. Be propped. Be
yeah.
propped. Propped is good. Yeah. So anyway, I'd love to know what you think about the boundaries because it just felt important for me to write it and offer it. And so you can just email me.
Where was it posted?
Week 3 or week 4, whatever the week of boundaries. I think it was week 4.
Okay.
Yeah, I sent out an email saying it was in week 3, but then I sent an email saying it was in week 4. So yeah,
Right. I saw
so
that.
I think I printed it, but I don't know where it went.
yeah, whatever. I'm just like gathering everything, and you get to watch me create this course out loud, which is super fun for me. Vulnerable. Okay. Oh, stretch. Oh, stretch. You guys are all doing so well. Oh my gosh. Mm, and I include myself in that. Whew, those 2 weeks with my mother were interesting.
Is it really 2 weeks?
Yes, it was
That's a
long,
long
12
time.
days. Yes, it
It's a
was.
long time to be in your old home with your mother and a long time to be a caregiver.
Yeah, it
It's a
was.
long.
It was really hard.
Good for
Okay,
you. You did it.
I did it. I did it. I felt like I was burned in the fire. I really did. It was astounding. I'm so glad it's over. So, finding your authentic voice, which we have all been doing in one way or another. So does somebody not have the document? Do you want me to find it and put it up on the Zoom? Share my screen? No? Okay. So I'd love to just go through this. Okay. So as you can see, I laid it out. So the first part is when others make requests of you, right? That's what we usually think of like I set, yes, no, maybe, right? So when someone asks you to do something, I invite you to connect with yourself, relax, breathe. Like Emily said, we'll have to think about that, I think is what you said. And I thought of what you shared last week about not knowing what to say when your friend texted you on your day off from school and you didn't know what to say. And like you shifted that, right? Let me think about that and get back to you. And so feeling inside, like Mary, you said, I felt a no. She wanted to do it for free. And I felt a no, right? And again, we're training ourselves to know what it feels like, to not just say, yes, okay, but like, how am I feeling? And it takes time to train ourselves. Then notice what's arising. Ooh, I'm feeling angry. Ooh, I'm feeling sad. Ooh, I'm feeling yucky. Often for me, it's like yucky. Like it's just yucky. I can't articulate it more than that. But then I'm like, okay, listen, doesn't feel good. And then answering as clearly as possible with honesty and kindness. So, what did you think of these yes things? And I'd love to hear more yes things. Like left some open ones so you can put in your own. So fun to have a little workbook, huh? So, do you want to go to the movies? I'd love to.
That sounds awesome.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, what else?
Um,
If it's a yes,
well, we're on yes, right?
run yes.
Yeah.
I think if it's verbal, sure is a great answer. But one of
Yeah.
my pet peeves is sure written in text. So I'm like, is it a sure or is it like a sure? I don't think for me personally, that word comes across as like insincere,
Lack
unsincere,
of inflection.
right?
That's also an issue with, text and email that you don't get the the inflection of what somebody's saying to really know what they really mean.
That's why I always put a smiley face. And I think a lot of people are like, oh, Jenny, always a heart, always a smiley face. But I feel like that just gives the inflection, of like my heart, you know?
True. Emojis are inflections. That's interesting. That's an interesting
Mhm.
concept. Yeah.
Mine don't always work in text messages and they go out as question marks. So I'm having to do the little happy face or whatever, which really hurts my range. But
Can you say that again, Mary? I'm not sure I know what you're talking about.
if I try to use an emoji for some reason in text messages, and it might
Oh,
only be group text, it goes out as a question mark.
yes, yes.
So I'm having to do the little two dots and the parenthesis mark for smile or whatever.
Do you have like an Android phone?
Yes.
I wonder if that's an Android thing.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
But I also know that people say that it's just old people that use emojis.
I
Well,
know, I don't care. I
I
don't.
don't know.
I don't. That's not that. I mean, I don't. I don't.
my nieces always make fun of me, or she's always putting a this face or that face, and nobody uses those anymore. I'm like,
Eh,
That's
oh,
not true. Everybody uses them.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm not of that youngest generation anymore, but I know they use a lot of like shorthand, like very abbreviations and acronyms that I have no idea what even mean.
I always have to ask one of my kids, what does
I
this mean?
exactly.
Google them. Google
Or
them.
Google
Oh,
them, or Google
good
them.
idea. Good idea.
Yeah. But it's true, the inflection. Although I do find that people I'm very, very close to, I can pick up on
Hmm.
what where they're at with it,
Because
what they're feeling, or
you're an empath,
yeah,
even through the text.
yeah, I'll know.
Any more
So,
discussion we need to do about yes? I mean, yes is an easy one, right? But don't say yes if you don't mean yes, right? So that's
mhm.
maybe, that's at the bottom. Okay. So somebody asks you, it's a full body yes. You say yes. Sure, I'd love that, right? Okay. Let's go to no. Now, I'm thinking of one of my friends, and she like I feel like hurt when I ask her to do something and it's a no because it's so cut and dried. No.
Yeah.
I just
She doesn't soften it at all.
doesn't soften it at all.
Did she ever say yes?
She does.
Oh,
Yeah,
good. Okay. Okay.
yeah, she totally does.
Well,
Yeah,
yes,
she
she does.
totally
Okay.
does.
I was just gonna say, just stop asking her to do stuff.
Yeah, I get the message. Yeah, but no, it's just interesting. So I think a lot about no, probably because I'm a really good codependent. I don't want
But
people to feel bad.
for me, the issue is when people ask stuff and I say no, I feel angry, like, why do you put me in this position where I have to say no?
Oh, can you say that again?
Like, why do you have to put me in this position where I'm saying no?
Can you
Like
give
you're
us an
asking me,
example? Can you give us an
I
example?
don't know if I can give you an example off the top of my head, but somebody asks you something really unreasonable for you to do.
It depends
Like,
who's
I don't
asking
even,
too, right? It's like some people ask things more than others, and that's when resentment can really build. I understand that.
like taking advantage of you.
Or if it's
And
not reciprocated, if you haven't asked them for anything, but they just always ask you for something, or like
right, and they've asked you the same thing multiple times, and each time you said no, and they ask you again, and it's like, why are you putting me in this position where you know I'm going to say no? Like you trying to make me feel bad?
can I coach you, Susan?
Oh, you never coach me, Jenny.
I know. May I?
Of course.
So, give me a name. I'm Susie. Okay.
My sister Cheryl.
Cheryl. Okay. What does she ask you to do?
Oh, I don't know. Stuff for my mother that is ridiculous.
Susan, will you come and take mom to get her hair done?
The words that just popped into my head, I can't say.
Go ahead. Say it.
No fucking way.
No fucking way. So, is that a no? You feel
put
that
that
no?
right at D, right on D here. You can put it right there. Like no
That's a
fucking.
hard no.
Good. So, let's work with that for a minute. Okay? You feel that hard no. I feel like I just want to take a breath with that hard no. Will you take a
And
breath?
I think sometimes people ask you to do things when they know the answer is going to be no.
Are you
It's almost
talking
like a
about
test.
are you talking about your sister and your mother?
I'm talking about people who are close to me. Doesn't necessarily have to be them, but friends who know that the answer would be no, or just kind of sort of like on a fishing expedition.
So this is interesting. So it is sounding to me that this may be a pattern with Susan.
Gee, that's a surprise.
We all have our patterns. Okay, we all have our patterns. And guess what? It is an opportunity to do something differently.
What, and say yes this time?
No. Does
Well,
anyone
what's
else
different?
know where I'm going with this?
Oh, just to be said
You're
to
saying,
say a soft no.
or to ask why she continues to ask you this.
That's an option. Or to set a stronger boundary. So, what might you say to Cheryl, who has asked you 10 times to take your mother, which is way too many times? Like 3 times is like should be the limit. Nobody should be asking you more than 2 or 3 times to do something. If it's a hard no. Okay. So, can you practice? What would you say? What might you say to Cheryl?
Well, I mean, in this case, it would be something explaining why it's a no.
Okay,
You
try
know,
it. Say,
it's a long ride. I can't manage her in the car. I can't get her in and out of the car. She can get her hair done where she lives, and because she refuses to, I shouldn't have to drive 3 hours. The
okay, so
list
that's
goes
a
on and
lot of
on.
words, and you don't actually have to say all that. Can you
Okay.
shorten it up?
No, no is the answer.
No, and please don't ask me anymore because I'm
Yeah.
not going to do that. Period.
I like that.
How's it feel?
And you don't owe her the explanation either.
Right.
Well, that's true too. Well, I don't know about my sister
It's
because
okay.
she
It's
doesn't take no
okay.
for an answer.
Yeah. Well, she doesn't take no for an answer because the boundary has not been strong enough, right? Think about Sam with May hurling stuff at him, and he's like, no, 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 no.
Fuck you. Finally.
No,
But
right?
yeah,
No, right? He's just keeps in whatever he's saying. It's like, you shall not treat me this way. You shall not treat me this way.
right. Yeah, I mean, I can see that's very similar because I literally like wanted to explain all the reasons why she was wrong, but like, but in the end, she's not gonna even read it, and she doesn't, and I'm doing it to kind of make myself feel better. So somehow, right? So explaining why isn't the point, right? Because it's not gonna make them understand. It's really not. It's just you have to just kind of be comfortable in your no, right? And just be like, no, I'm sorry, but I can't help you with that. And yeah, for sure. I
Are
think
you
that
afraid that it'll cause a big blowout with your sister if you say, please stop asking me this when you know the answer is no?
That's a tough one because of my sister, and who she is, because we are not anything alike. Um, Blowout might be a good thing. Um, but the case of the ass is worse.
What's
Yeah,
that?
potty mouth, potty mouth tonight. A case of the ass where you get, a lot of grief and a lot of
Never heard that before.
um, negative behaviors and things.
And again, Sam, I hope it's okay if I keep bringing it back to you because you were so clear and articulate in your post.
yes, it's fine.
It's sometimes it's easier, and this is what I did with my mom. I slid into codependence and I did not honor myself a few times because I didn't want the storm. I didn't want the blowout. I felt like I couldn't weather it. I couldn't withstand it. And I remember Sam saying that he gave in to his ex-wife in the beginning because he didn't want the storm. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, it's because like the path of least resistance. Part of it's guilt. Part of it's like maybe I should do that. I should. Am I wrong for not wanting to do that? Or and then other part of it's like I know that this she's gonna throw a temper tantrum, and then I'm gonna feel worse, and she's gonna pull me into her world, and I'm not gonna. It's gonna be horrible.
And so what
And
finally changed you? What
well,
finally
I you
compelled you
know,
to start setting the boundaries and taking the storm and
I
weathering the
mean,
storm?
part of it's this class, part of it's Brit. A lot of it's Brit. I mean, I've been with her for almost 2 years now, and she's the queen of boundary setting, and you know, and respecting myself. I mean, having more respect for myself, and is kind of the crux of it. Uh, Trying to create an identity and just putting myself first, which is weird, foreign kind of a foreign concept, or was at least. But
Does any of that resonate? Yeah, Emily.
Well, I have a question. So I wrote down what you said, like no one should ask someone to do things over and over again when the answer has been no and will probably be like continue to be no. So when is it like, and I'm like trying to wrap my head around this, is it something that I do? When is it badgering or bullying somebody in a way? Like if I ask enough times that they'll just relent and say yes to get me to shut up, which, I've been in a couple situations, I feel like with my husband that he's done that, like just done what I asked to do just to get me to stop talking about it. Or like generally when it's a personal need that's not being met and you're asking for the same thing over and over again, and the answer is no. Is it like really truly like a capacity thing? Like what is the unwillingness part of that? And where's the healthiness in that of like, I'm telling you over and over and over again what I really need for me to be good, but your boundary is a no, 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 no. And is it because you don't want to? You can't? I'm tired of you flipping asking me. You're
Mhm.
like, you know what? Like, so I'm really
Yes.
like looking
Yes.
at the boundaries paper from last week. I read that. And I guess it's probably need to sitting like read it again and read it again to kind of have more of that understanding of like when is someone being stubborn, or is that a thing, or
Yes.
unwilling, or like I can't, or I just don't want to, like
Hmm. So did you read this Finding Your Authentic Voice? Because, oh, sorry,
I've
you
gotten
don't have to answer that. But on the back
yeah.
is all about that. So actually, okay. So could you hold that for a second?
Yeah.
Hold that for a second. Okay. Just want to go to Susan quickly. Susan, is there anything like, have you felt a shift? Like, has anything sort of landed for you from what Sam was saying, from what anyone else was saying that you want to say, or do you feel like sort of complete for now?
I don't, I guess, you know, maybe it was a bad example to bring up a circumstance with my sister because it's just such a, it's
Can of worms.
a
Can of
60
snakes.
some odd year relationship with, my mother involved, and it's much more complicated than it should be, and much more complicated than most relationships.
I think I hear that. And I think really all relationships are kind of the same.
Well, but it's also the thing that I said earlier to Sam about pushing buttons, is that you
Abs.
have these people who you've known forever and ever and ever,
Exactly.
and they know how to get you going.
Exactly. And the bottom line is you look at that elements of healthy relationships, you figure out whether this relationship is healthy or not. And if it ain't, you figure out what your needs are and you speak them. Like that is, and I hear you that it's difficult. I know it's that way with my mother and my brother also. But just to
Like,
sit
but I
with,
do think,
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, what was that?
No, no, go ahead.
I do think that I have done a better job like recently of doing that with my sister and with my mother.
That's all.
Um,
Yes.
but it's far from ideal.
Well, and think about maybe your friends because those are a little easier. Like
Well,
nobody
there,
should be asking you over and over to do something.
and I
So,
would say that probably my friends don't because they're
right.
much more respectful, and the
Exactly.
relationships that I have with them are much more healthy than
Exactly.
the familial relationships.
Exactly. Good. Glad to hear it. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. Okay, so let's just skip through. I mean, you have this. I've given you some things to say. It sounds like you all are doing so well anyway, with a yes, with a no, with a maybe, right? So let's go to the
But
next
then the
section. Yeah, yeah.
other question, though, is that when you talk about requests that are being made of you, is it the same as saying, I don't know, would you please take out the trash, or would you um please do something much more significant? Like, does the intensity of the request make a difference in terms of the response?
let's go to the next section. Good question. My my nonviolent communication teachers, we always practiced with taking out the trash because they said that is like the most difficult thing to talk about because it's about the trash and it's not about the trash.
Mhm.
I don't have that problem with my husband, so I don't really get it, but that's what I hear from other people.
Well, and I don't have that either. That just popped into my head.
Yeah,
I wasn't using as an example. I was just using it as something that is pretty inane as
exactly.
opposed to some
Exactly.
really significant, time-consuming,
Right.
or emotionally involved request.
So I feel like you making requests of others and the class next week, like this actually you making requests of others, and then when the other says no, which is what Emily was asking, or otherwise does not honor your request, what do you do? What do you do? You ask and ask and ask your partner. They don't do it. What's going on? Okay. What's going on? You ask and ask and ask, and they don't do it.
I think there's always the surface level, whatever it is you're asking or discussing, that's some kind of dispute. And then underneath that is your all these feelings that are being played out. They're messy and nobody really knows what to say, so they're just fighting over the trash. And then underneath that is some sort of sense of your identity. And I just think there's levels that
There's so many levels, and I really want to break it down because I think that will help. And so if, things are percolating for you, feel free to journal as we're talking. So when you're going to make a request of another person, here's the process. Identify a need that you have. Okay, I really have a need for my husband to cook dinner at least once a week, right? I really have a need for my son to answer the phone when I call, et cetera, et cetera. So thinking about the needs that you have with a significant person in your life. Then, as always, you connect with yourself, okay? Discern what it is you're asking for, that need. How does that feel in your body? Can you own that? Notice the feelings that are arising, okay? Give yourself permission to be feeling them. And then the all important communication. So, this phrase that I've shared with you is a nonviolent communication phrase that is golden. Golden. I've used it with my kids, use it with my husband all the time. It is amazing. Use it with my brother, use it with my mother. I've realized that I'm feeling so and so, and I have a need for so and so. Would you be willing? So, with my husband, like I asked him a little while ago, would you be willing to bring me down some vitamin C? We use that all the time. And you know why? Because it gives the other person the autonomy to say no. Everybody needs autonomy, even children, right? We don't let children run roughshod over us, but we can ask them, do you want the red one or the blue one? No. And when they get older, would you be willing to do this? And now it's great. My kids ask me the same. My older son, Mom, would you be willing to buy me a plane ticket? I get to say yes or I get to say no. It is so respectful to ask somebody else if they would be willing to do something. How would that feel if somebody who just sort of communicates passive aggressively, like says, would you be willing? Like if my mom had said, instead of, Jenny, my coffee table's a mess. I want it to be clean, and sort of told me what to do. And I just like lost it because it was 9:30. But if she had said, Jenny, would you be willing to help me organize my coffee table? I could have said, yes. Or I could have said, you know what? I am exhausted. I would love to do that tomorrow. So trying to train my mother to communicate in that way. but she doesn't naturally, and I haven't trained her so well. So it's like when someone doesn't communicate clearly like that, there's all sorts of stuff that can happen over here to be on the receiving end of that. And if we're tired, we can lose it. So, what do you think about that? Would you be willing? Thoughts?
I like it. I'm thinking about my son at the moment. The part that where I'm stumped is I have realized that I am feeling, I don't know exactly what I'm feeling. I have the need for knowing what his plans are, and would you be willing to share them with me? But what is it I'm feeling? I don't know.
You have some spade work to do.
Somewhat.
Some spade work, like in the garden, digging up
Hmm.
the soil. Yes. And I'd love to hear what comes up because I think so often, like we were talking about today, it's like you're like, I need him to move out, right? But that's not really a need. I mean, it kind of is, but there's stuff behind that that needs to be looked at before you can get to that place. Does that make sense? Like you
Yeah.
said, what am I feeling? All of the feelings, you know? And what I hear is that you want a house, a quiet, empty
I
nest.
want well, my husband and I, our space. We had children right away.
Yeah,
So we've never had
yeah.
an empty nest. And so one child is moving out. Thank it's unexpected and it's miraculous. But and he's not a child. So it's a little I guess part of it is that yeah, I want us to have some time. I want us to have some time before I would love to have grandchildren someday, but I want some time beforehand that
Mhm.
it's just us and that it feels more spacious. I don't feel like the walls are closing in.
You need space.
Yeah,
Good. Do some journaling. Get in touch with your feelings and needs, all of them. Use the feelings and needs sheets,
yeah.
preparing for that
So,
conversation.
Jenny, what do you do? Like, I have to go back to this example of my sister because she's like sort of the classic. We talking about needs and identifying feelings and needs. My sister doesn't know what she feels. She's not in touch with
Yes,
anything. So, what do you do when
that's
somebody
what we're
isn't in touch?
that's what we're going to be talking about next week, but basically you make a boundary. And like Sam was saying, you don't have to explain. But let's table that for next week, okay? Because we
Right.
only
So, but the point is, though, is that there are ways to deal with it.
1,000%. It is
Okay.
boundaries, 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 boundaries. And the boundaries are hard to set. So that's why we need to have more support ongoing, right? Because it's an unfolding thing.
Mhm.
So so in the little time we have left, I want to address Emily's question. Emily, we're going to be talking about this next week too. So has anything bubbled up since you asked your question?
Um, no, I'm just thinking about like my life and my routine at home and like the things that I ask my partner to like share in responsibility with me that feel like if they're undone, I feel like it's more important or more troubling to me than for my partner who is like seemingly very laid back. Like there's no sense of urgency, like just, I don't know, to use animals as the example, unless it is pouring rain or like below zero, the animals need to go outside and be walked every day. How would you like to be caged up in a house all
Mhm,
day? I don't care
mhm,
if you're home all day or not for companionship. I feel like to be a responsible pet owner, just as I think it's a decent example, like you have to take the time to do the things that the animal needs.
mhm,
Being home all day isn't a substitute for
mhm.
taking a walk. I look at taking it. I don't always want to do it, but I'm like, is it good for me to be outside? Yeah. Is it good to me to be in nature? Yes. Is it good to me to disconnect from technology and just have the leashes in my hand? Yes, 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 all the way. So I have it's just one of many examples
Mhm.
of when I'm like, this is a priority for me. And I don't feel like maybe there's a bigger need behind this. Maybe I need to explore that more. But it's something simple as walk the dogs. Okay.
So, would it be fair to say that your husband is different from you
Yes.
with different needs, a different personality,
Yes.
different needs? And are you able to discern sometimes, and again, we'll be talking about this next week, are you able to discern what his needs might be if he's not able to share them because he's not in touch with them? Like around different things. We could,
Yes. You want me to go into I don't even need to explain that. Yes, I can tell the difference because he's not really verbally able to communicate that to me well.
Mhm.
I can tell what he appreciates and what he does not appreciate. And there's probably a lot that I don't know because of that lack of open communication or capacity even to do so. I don't know that he even knows that bandwidth exists. Him being older too, I think that might be potentially part of it. Um, they didn't talk about feelings at his house. So I don't know that he has any skills to really build even upon. He'd be starting at a novice place.
So I wonder, since we are veering toward the end, I wonder if you might say to him, hey, dude, would you be willing to talk feelings with me? You know how excited I've been about this class. Can we talk about this? Would you be willing? Like, I invite you to use the phrase and see what happens. Would you be willing to talk about needs?
But I think with that is that you have to be willing to for him to say no, and what will your reaction be if they
That's
say
right.
no?
That's
Uh,
right.
that's important,
It's a
right?
good one. Ah,
If he says,
what if the person says no?
well, and if he says yes, and you don't like, you say something about a feeling you don't like the answer. Likewise, are you prepared to hear something that you might feel uncomfortable about?
Oh, absolutely. I just want to hear anything. I feel my need is for him to have a willingness. Is that unfair to say? Yeah, Jenny's like, yeah,
I,
It's so hard.
it
It's
is.
so hard when somebody that we love just is at a different place.
I think it speaks a little bit to love languages too. Have you read the
Mhm.
five love
Yeah, I was
languages?
thinking the same thing.
Acts of service might be yours, and I think that maybe exploring that with him, that there's this interesting concept because like understanding your own and understanding your partner's love languages is one of the most important things. And I think that like, that's something I've just scratched the surface on, but that's a whole nother concept. But I think it speaks a little bit to this. And
I was thinking about that too. Yeah.
you know, it's a fascinating philosophy. Jenny,
And
do you know the love languages? I mean, I'm sure you
I've
do,
heard
right?
about it, but I haven't looked into it, so I just made
Okay.
it.
Yeah, I mean,
the
it's
five love
very, I know I
languages.
don't want to go off on a tangent, but it's a little bit of this. That's more of a relationship thing with.
Mm.
Couples.
I would investigate a little bit more in that too.
Well, actually,
Emily,
it's more than
sorry.
couples. It goes to other people too, but it's
Yeah,
mostly
that's
couples.
true. That's true.
Just to understand people, right? Like the five elements of Chinese medicine are a way of understanding.
And
And
and it's yours are acts of service maybe, but also there's another one that's about a need to connect emotionally. And his might be he really wants gifts and he really wants his love language is very physical.
Right. Physical touch is one of them.
Yeah.
I guess knowing all of that, I still believe that in a good, healthy relationship, we can extend ourselves
Mhm.
to talk each other's love language, learn each other's love language. We can
Absolutely.
invite each other into the love language.
And that's the whole point, is that you
Cool.
learn to understand their love language and offer it to them.
Love
And
that.
then
Tell them what yours
you
is.
find that they're more
Right.
willing then to engage in your love language.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think that's why I do the 5 element work as well of personality, because it's so everyone, no matter who we are valid,
Mhm.
whoever we are, you know, you don't have to be a feelings gusher all the time. It's knowing who we are and showing our partner that we respect them no matter what, you know. Ooh, juicy, juicy.
We're having a staycation this weekend. I bet Mark can't wait.
Hey, get it out.
Doesn't
Break
even.
out the journal.
Yep. Let us know how it goes. Yeah, and so take this week, those of you that aren't having back surgery, or even those of you that are, reflect on this. Yeah, so let's go around and say what you're taking with you, what your reflections are, what your intentions are for this week.
Open
I
minded.
think I think mine is to dig a little deeper on what it is I'm really feeling and looking for from my son. I mean, I am looking for plans of him moving out, but like what else is going on
For you,
for me, and
all those things.
asking at some point what's going on for him.
Totally.
Can I
Spacious.
ask how old he is?
33. He did live elsewhere for quite a while, but he's been home now. At first saving to buy a house, then got laid off. This is a long story, but it's now been 4 years. And
Temporary 4 years.
and what kind of sparked my this particular round of what's going on is that my younger daughter is moving out this month. She is disabled and just got public housing and right in our town, and it's awesome, and it was a big surprise, and we're going crazy trying to put things together. And his response was, she has the bigger room because he had left, so she got the bigger room. So his response is, oh good, I'm going to move into her room. And I was like, my
No.
jaw just dropped. I didn't know what to say, so I feel like I need to know, what are your plans here? And I
He's
certainly
having
need
needs
And
and
I
you're
need
having
him to participate more in the household. My husband hasn't wanted to push any kind of chores or anything with him. And
interesting.
so it's rarely I will ask him to do something. And that's gonna have to change. I mean, if he
Well, he's
is gonna
moving out, doesn't he? Is he moving out
no,
or
I
he's
mean
not?
he's supposed to be moving out. I
Okay.
just don't know when. I'd
He
like
doesn't
to
have a
know.
plan yet, but he says he's trying to plan.
Well, the house thing is he's stopped because even though he has a good salary, on a single salary with these prices and the interest rates, it wasn't going to work.
And
And
just
actually,
let
it
what's
you
was,
the
know that it's 7:01 right now. So
oh, okay, sorry.
let's definitely continue this on Sutra. It's so good. It's so rich. It's so rich, really. I don't want to cut you off. And
No, that's okay.
Emily, did you want to say? I heard you say, but do you want to say anything more?
Oh, me?
Me?
Yeah. Emily, yeah, Edwards, sorry.
Oh, no, I just, my checkout word was open mindedness.
Open-minded.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Who else? What you taking with you? What are you reflecting on?
Um, just boundary setting and restraint.
Inner restraint, your own restraint?
Restraint. Yeah, restraint. Impulsiveness and just self-assuredness.
Nice.
I'm just continued work on boundary setting, working on myself, just not just working on me more. So
Beautiful. And Miss Susan,
Making it to Friday.
what's that?
Making it to Friday.
Making it to Friday. I'll let everybody know.
That would be good, yeah.
I'm
Thank
sorry.